Calling all you ambitious, overachieving, bossy, I can do it all. Don't bother me, I got this. Type A women, this podcast series, Healing the Hustle, is for you. Hey there, it's Jessica Butts, Front Seat Life all the way, same butt-kicky lady, just in a new chapter, and I'm so excited you're here. We're going to take a journey of healing the hustle as we are more than a year into a global pandemic, and let's be honest, we have all changed. It is time to acknowledge that, accept it, and start a new era of being our best selves without killing ourselves by getting off of the hamster wheel. We can still be our same awesome, ambitious, kick-ass selves while not buying into the BS of the hustle. I have found a new way, and I can't wait to share it with you. So let's start healing the hustle. Oh my God! It's my 10-year anniversary! Holy cow! I am so excited to do this episode. Oh, wow. It has been 10 years, not of the podcast, but 10 years since I graduated from graduate school. So in June of 2011, wow, my life was completely different. I was just graduating graduate school, and today's episode is some lessons that I feel like I have learned in the last 10 years of doing all this crazy shit I've been doing. Getting a divorce, starting over, starting from scratch, writing a couple of books, leaving therapy to go be a coach and then go into business coaching and life coaching and written a couple of books and done a podcast and done some events. And I hope to share some nuggets with you today about some of the things that I have learned as to where I am now, kind of healing this hustle of the last 10 years. And it is very aware to me, obvious to me that part of the reason that I am healing the hustle is because I have been hustling for 10 years. I share a lot of different stories about how this all started when I was in Hawaii. I've shared that story with my husband and walking, and I can't slow down. And I was just so excited. I was like a young babe. I'm 47 now, so that must have been 37, almost 38. And I just feel like I was just getting released for the first time. I mean, I feel like I was, I don't know how people feel when I forgot, graduating from high school or your undergrad, but I, for the first time, was feeling very free, ready to actually be doing what I wanted to be doing in this world. My undergrad was in some stupid shit, like, I don't even know what it was, HR BS. I hated it. I was starting my life like all over. And for the first time again, I was so excited. Mostly because I was doing what I wanted to be doing, right? I wasn't tied down to what someone else wanted me to be doing. I didn't have a 9-to-5. All of the effort that I was going to put in was for me. It wasn't for a corporation. It wasn't for my boss. I know a lot of you listening right now can understand that, but it was like every effort that I put in was to benefit myself, which felt completely different. And so I've got, 6 main takeaways today. And if you're a regular listener, you know that might turn into 20, but I'm going to try to keep it to these 6 and just talk to you about some of the main lessons that I have been realizing post-COVID and in a new era of, healing the hustle. And I'm excited to jump in. So let's start with number 1. One of the lessons I have learned over the last 10 years, been hustling my booty off. Again, written books, done a podcast, which I'm doing right now, done events, have online programs. I have, I think, perfected group programs, done one-on-ones. I've done all the things. And the number 1 lesson that I have, I won't label these. This is one of the 6. Simple is better. More is not better. Do one thing and do it super awesome. I am absolutely guilty of not doing this. So I do know that I am still the type queen. I know that I, own the shit out of front seat life and being unapologetically who you are and really helping people be unapologetically who they are in their life, love, and business. But one of the things that I have gotten away from, which is tied into one of my other lessons, is I, as a very ambitious ENFJ, high on E, off the charts on N, high on F, and like off the charts on J, as a super, super ambitious person, I get bored very easily, and I always want to create something new. So while the basis of all of my work has always been type, I have broken this rule, and I have created probably too many offers for my own sanity, but it also has created confusion with my customers, I would say. I remember years ago going to Gabrielle Bernstein, her website, to try to find something she was currently offering. And there was, I'm not exaggerating, there was at least 12 different offers on her website. And I got fed up and I left because I was like, I don't know who this is for, which one is right for me. There's so many options. This is so fucking confusing. Why are you doing this, lady? And I probably have made that mistake a bit, as I think most entrepreneurs do, as ambitious women do as well, or ambitious people do as well, is we just get freaking excited and we want to try the online programs and we want to, do events and we want to do some group programs and we want to write books and we want to do all the things because that's who we are. We're freaking ambitious and we're excited about what we're talking about. So I will just say this. You can also do a lot of things, and the biggest no-no is not staying in your lane. So that is absolutely like faux pas number one. I've probably said that. Like if I had $1 for every time I said that, I could retire today to my clients, because we have to stay in our lane. So when people are like health coaches and then they like try to be business coaches, or, they're business coaches and then they get all woo or something, like, I don't know. It's very, very confusing to your audience when you're switching lanes. And so that I have not done, thank God. But I would say one of the biggest lessons that I have learned, and I've also watched in other people, is just simple is better. Just simple is better. And one of the biggest, just to add into this, one of the biggest mistakes we all make. In fact, I was just having a private session this morning with one of my wonderful clients, and I had to remind her, as I'm reminding myself almost on a daily basis, that a width of knowledge is not better. A depth of knowledge is better for yourself and for your clients. So I was talking to my partner about this weekend and he was using this example of tango. So he used to do tango, and that he was so desperate to find an instructor that would just stay on one basic step, or like a couple basic steps for like an entire week. But we as instructors that are educators and experts in our field, we think we're going to bore people. Can I get an amen to that? We think people want more. And the reality is they actually don't. They want your knowledge as deep as you can go with them. And so when we, as the instructors or educators, start going with breadth of knowledge, we can confuse our audience. We can lose people. Stu McLaren teaches this in Tribe a bit, of like not giving too much, because it actually, again, confuses our audience, and going deeper is better. Just like the tango example, and with my client this morning, because I had to remind her that her knowledge is incredible. Like what she teaches is absolutely incredible. She teaches the woo of like interior design. So how to take care of your home so that you understand the energy of it. And I kept reminding her that what she teaches people don't get, and she doesn't have to teach anything ever again, because I don't even know how many people there are in the world, hundreds of millions of people in the world. Yet we think that even if we only have 20 clients, our clients want a depth of knowledge more than they want this breadth of knowledge. So stay in your lane, stick to what you know, become an expert, and then do that one thing super awesome. Okay, that's number one. Number two, obviously I can't talk about the lessons I've learned without talking about this one, which is know your type and do it your way. Know your type and do it your way. I mean, I literally wrote a book called Don't Do Stuff You Suck At, because I perceive and watch and witness so many people and entrepreneurs, together or separate, people that are entrepreneurs or just people and entrepreneurs, that they try to do things like other people. And so a great example is Amy Porterfield. So she is self-admittingly super introverted. She's also an S, and super J. And she also talks about that she almost all of her podcasts, most of her Instagram stories, like everything she does is scripted because that makes her more comfortable. And somebody like Rachel Rogers, for example, who is an ENFJ or ENTJ, I'm not sure which one, she's a riffer, right? She gets on a podcast just like I do, and I've got notes, but I'm absolutely riffing. I am not reading off of a script or a teleprompter, and there's no right way. We just have to learn to do it our way. We have to learn that extroverts are better at riffing, and introverts oftentimes need scripts. Another good friend of mine, Tarzan K, she likes to also script her content. She's actually doing a podcast right now where she's reading her emails. That's a very wonderful and introverted thing to do, but it's the way she does it, right? I'm not going to do that, and she's not going to do it my way, and I'm not going to do it her way. And then we've got to understand the S in the N, that S's oftentimes need scripts. They need things to be a certain way, and intuitives are way more riffers. They're way more think outside the box. And then obviously the J's and the P's is always super important in understanding that J's like things a certain way. They're a little bit controlled in that way. And P's they are going to always struggle with that. Like I'm doing Healing the Hustle summer school right now and writing the book and spending the summer talking about healing the hustle content. And it is so much for the NJs, specifically the J's, but absolutely N's as well. So each of the books that I have written, each of the courses that I've created is for a different and specific personality type, and Healing the Hustle is for these N's and J's, but also SJs. So any combination like NPs, NJs, and then anyway, it doesn't matter. You guys are probably not following. I do that sometimes when people like start rolling their eyes. They're like, you lost me. So any derivative of those. And we've got to stop the comparison bullshit. We've absolutely got to stop it. And in fact, that leads into number 3. So I'm just going to go there right now, is this trying to keep up with the entrepreneurial Joneses, because there's a couple ways that we do this. And one of them is point number 2, which is we've got to do it our own way. I have gotten guilty of this. I tried to do the online courses thinking that was the direction for me. But as an extrovert and as an extroverted feeler, I like to connect with my clients. And when I started doing this online, I created it. I created 2. Actually, they're both fucking amazing programs. And I realized, oh my God, I miss my clients. Like I pre-recorded all this content, but yet I'm not connecting with my clients. I don't get to see them or talk to them. And I hated it. I absolutely hated it. So I made my own mistakes, right? These are the lessons I have learned. This isn't about other people. This is what I've fucked up with. And that was it was an expensive mistake. And I won't call it a mistake because I still use them. They're amazing programs. I give them away now, and they're wonderful, amazing programs. Yet, as an ENFJ, my driver of my car, my very best self, is an extroverted feeler. And I made a huge mistake of like, oh shit, my driver is lonely. I mean, she's not doing what she's best at, which is literally connecting with my clients. However, if you're an introverted thinker or an introverted sensor, like Amy Porterfield, this is another good example of using her, is that she is a course creator because she has absolutely admitted numerous times on her podcast that she does not like private clients. She does not like group programs. She does not like riffing. She doesn't like being in groups like that, where that's my favorite thing. So if she, as an introverted sensor or introverted thinker, makes the mistake of trying to do business like me, she's going to be miserably unhappy. And if I, as an ENFJ, try to do a business like hers, which I fucking did, whoops, do it like her, I'm going to be miserably unhappy. So my point for point 2 and 3 is we've got to fucking do this our own way. We've got to do this our own way. And sometimes that means just turning off social media or stop following people that are triggering you because we think, oh my God, I've got to do it like them. So the other part about keeping up with the entrepreneurial Joneses is just all of the creation that goes on, right? We see people doing events, or we see people writing books, or doing a podcast, or starting a blog, or killing it on TikTok, or killing it on Instagram, or killing it on LinkedIn, or whatever. You gotta pick your thing and stick to it. So one of my favorite people to follow is Heather Mcmahon. She's a comedian and I'm obsessed with her. Thank you, Stacey Sorgen, my dear friend, for turning me on to her because she's fucking hilarious. Anyway, she just owns Insta stories. That's all. That's actually not true. She also has a podcast, but she doesn't really do TikTok. She's only been on there a couple of times, but she built her success, literally built her success off of Instagram stories. And she owns it. That's what she does. She's not trying to get on Clubhouse. She's not trying to do all of this other bullshit, because when we are spread thin, we're not able to kill any one thing, right? We're not able to perfect or master or be the best at any one thing. So I was also talking to a client yesterday about this, about the different platforms. And she was like, I don't know where to put my videos. Like YouTube it needs to be so professional and, but I'm more of a riffer. She's an ENFJ. And I was like, then YouTube is not your platform. I mean, YouTubers spend a lot of time on editing and a lot of time doing really nice videos. And that is a wonderful platform if that's what you want to do. Or you can be a TikToker. By the way, I just got a new client off of TikTok. She called me. We had a meeting set up and I was like, where did you find me? And she's like, oh, I just watched one of your TikTok videos. So, pick a lane, pick 2 lanes, pick Pinterest and LinkedIn, or LinkedIn and Facebook, or TikTok or Instagram, or 2 of them, whatever the 2 are, or just one, a podcast, an email list, whatever the format is. Don't try to do all of them. Like when everybody jumped on Clubhouse, I was like, oh my God, this is just one more thing. I did a funny ass little reality thing with a friend, and we tried Clubhouse for like a day and we were like, what are we doing? This is so stupid. I don't even know if Clubhouse is around. Maybe it's killing it. I don't really know. But again, pick a couple of things, because unless you have a ginormous team, and I'm going to be honest, even if you have a ginormous team, pick the platform that is right for your personality type. So again, I am not an edited person. This is not edited. I mean, I have a podcast editor, but everything I'm saying right now is going to stay in here because he knows that's the way I like it. If you are a super edited person and you're more of a introverted thinker and you prefer things edited, then rock the shit out of your thing. It's probably not going to be Insta stories and it's probably not going to be TikTok. And so you get to get on a YouTube or you get to get on a Pinterest or do something that's better suited for your personality type. By the way, if you're listening and you're new to me and you don't know your type, I've got a free quiz on my website, jessicabutts.com, or on Instagram. It's one of the links on my bio. And you can absolutely start the process there. So this is my BHAG, my big, hairy, audacious goal. It's 10 years in. I will be doing this at least, how old am I? 48 almost. 48. Yeah, I'll probably be doing this for the next 20 years. I could imagine doing this till I'm 68. I will be some rockin' old, stylish old lady for sure. But I will probably be talking about this until like I'm done talking, until I just go retire in Maui. And maybe I'll still be talking about it. But again, the big, hairy, audacious goal is to get everybody to understand their type so that you can stay in your lane. Simple as better. Do it your way and then quit trying to keep up with the entrepreneurial Joneses. Pick your own lane. And again, you're going to make mistakes. I'm telling you, I've made mistakes. I've tried to do something that was just absolutely not my zone of genius, not my lane, not my front seat. And, you know, you make mistakes and you keep rolling. That's what life's about. Okay. So that was 1, 2, 3. Okay. Number 4. So this is absolutely a post-COVID thing, which is Profit First. There's a great book literally named Profit First, and I am now obsessed with it, certainly after some of the difficulty financially of COVID and just, you know, life and expenses. And teams are expensive. And the whole idea behind Profit First is we have got to save money for our business. It is a thing in the entrepreneurial world to absolutely want to spend money to make money. And it's addicting. Like that's what I would spend my money on, travel in my business. There's been multiple years in my business that I've spent 70% or higher, 70 to 81%. 81 was the highest ever. And there are years that are building years that you've got to spend money to make money for sure. But Profit First is all about cutting expenses where you can. And there's a lot of shit that entrepreneurs think that they need and they don't always need. And so saving money, having a huge nest egg, investing, like I am obviously not a financial advisor, but investing money, saving money, having those kinds of security blankets really when shit like COVID happened. I mean, I remember, you know, it's June 2nd right now when I'm recording this. And I remember March of last year, when COVID hit and calling my mom and just straight up saying like, I'm in deep shit. Like this is bad for a lot of entrepreneurs. I mean, how I was making the majority of my money was keynote speaking in person at events and then having my own events. And it was, you know, a year of tremendous pivot. It was a year I was fine financially, thank God, but it was a year of really looking at what is important in my business. Where can I cut expenses? Where have I gotten out of control? I've talked about on other podcasts that I was on a train that I did not feel like I could stop. I mean, my assistants were hiring assistants. I mean, it was out of freaking control. And COVID was a stop. It was just a stop of like, stop. What are we doing? it's time to reassess. What are we doing? Buckle down. I mean, just a real like come to Jesus conversation with myself as well as my entire team, and what's necessary, what's not necessary, and making difficult decisions. You know, it is not fun to lay people off. It is not fun to let people down in that way, but this is also not a friendship. This is a fucking business. Like this is my life. If you're an entrepreneur, this is your life. This is your family's life. If you have children, this is their money. I mean, I really want you to think about it like that. This is your family's money. And I got into this like it was just a spending free for all. And I remember at one point, one of my assistants, I had many of them, was saying something like money, the we. And I internally was like, who the fuck is we? Like, this is me. This is me. And so again, it's not, hopefully not disrespectful to that person. It just is. This is our life as entrepreneurs, and we are the one making the money. And therefore we have to get selfish AF and smart AF about where we are spending our money and what is the profit, because things can shift any moment. No one saw COVID coming. And if you are just, hunky dory and doing all this stuff and you've got one stream of revenue, I guess that would be another thing that I'm going to add. See, I told you I would add. This is your livelihood. So you've got to learn. I had to learn. I'm going to keep this to myself. I had to learn how to get super, super selfish and super, super savvy and super smart about where I was spending my money, because we don't know when the next weird thing is going to happen. I never knew COVID was going to happen. And so the pivoting and the shifting and cutting expenses, to get me to where I am today, 13 months later, it looks completely different. And I'm happier than I've probably ever been. And I've cut expenses like crazy, and I'm back to doing my front seat. I'm back to seeing private clients. I'm back to running groups. I'm doing what I really love to do, and I'm not chasing the entrepreneurial Joneses. I'm absolutely doing it my way, and simple is better is coming. So by the way, if you're an avid listener, stay tuned. There's some very, very, very exciting shifts coming in September that I'm really excited to talk to you guys about. So let me just say quickly that other thing that I was talking about before I talk about the other two is having multiple streams of revenue. So I would absolutely say that is something that I have learned, of not putting all of your eggs in one basket. So, having books and speaking and, seeing some private clients and maybe some groups. And, as I'm saying, there's all these things to be doing out there. As I'm saying, don't do that, but multiple streams of revenue. So groups or a passive income like a book or, speaking via Zoom, whatever that is, but having one stream of revenue, like only keynote speaking in person, I know is devastating to people. I mean, obviously people weren't traveling. Obviously we're not going to conferences. It took at least 9 months or so for people to even start thinking about doing Zoom kind of conferences. So anyway, I really, really encourage people to also just think about multiple streams of revenue. So number five, and this is a big one. I do this, and I encourage my clients to certainly do this, is to reassess at least once a year, only doing what you love. Only doing what you love. Because again, as I've already talked about, there are times in my business where I built something like an online course and thinking, I'm going to go completely online, and then built it. It's awesome. But then realized, oh my God, I don't love this. Shit. I didn't know I wasn't going to love this, but I don't love this. What do I do now? And that really takes a reassessment and not giving up, just reassessing, pivoting and making changes. It's one of the coolest things about being an entrepreneur is that I think you can do this at any time in your life. Actually, I'm thinking about, I'm about to give a big secret away, but I am very much considering trading in my Mini Cooper and getting a van so that I can be more portable and have a little front seat life van. I'm obviously not going to live in it. I am way too bougie and way too old for that shit, but I shouldn't say it at age. For me, I am not doing that. I will obviously live in this beautiful place in Kirkland and have a van to be able to go do stuff like that. I have no idea why I brought that up. This is why you should have a script. Oh, I literally have no idea why. I know why. So my mom was starting to give me shit about it, as she likes to do. Jessica, like, maybe you should rent one before you just leap in. And I was like, yeah, I could do that, but it's totally not me. And it's not permanent. It's just a fucking car. Like, if I don't like it, I'll sell it. It's just like my house. Like, I didn't think when I bought it, I was going to sell it, but I sold it and now I'm way happier. I'm sitting here doing a podcast, looking out of the water. It's ridiculously beautiful. It has amazing energy. I feel like this is where my soul was supposed to be, and I won't be here forever either. And so that is knowing that you can shift things, knowing that you can reassess, knowing that it's not the end of the world. When we think we have failed, I encourage you to not look at it as a failure, but it's simply information. It is not a failure. It is information. It is information that, oh, wow, I really don't like online programs because I miss my client. Or, wow, I actually don't like being a homeowner because one of my core values is freedom and independence. And now I'm tied down to this thing and I don't feel portable. I don't feel like I can just go and be wanderlust, right? It's information. And we get to evolve and change and pivot at any moment. So I encourage you, and it might be, and I said at least, by the way, I said reassess at least once a year. I finish one of my journals, Be Unapologetically Who You Are journals. They're available on Amazon. I do one of those a quarter. That's how much I journal. It almost always, sometimes I have, a few pages left at the end, but I like to start a quarter. And so I just started one yesterday, actually, on June 1st. And one of the things that I do is I go back. I don't read the whole thing, but I skim my old journal. And it's a reassessment, right? I mean, some of it I look back and I'm like, okay, I'm getting that stuff done now. Or, wow, I'm not interested in that anymore. Or I'm redefining success, or I'm shifting that, or that's in a parking lot and I'll do it later, right? It's an opportunity to look back and reassess. And I would say that is probably one of my, if I could say, secrets to success, is that I do that often. And it is never a failure. It is never like I fucked up. It is information. It is a reassessment, and it is, okay, great. Good to know what's next. But if I don't do that, I do it on a quarterly basis. I also believe like seasonal energy is a huge thing. We're in, summer in Seattle. It's like 85 degrees today, and there's just completely different energy because it's light from 5 a.m. until 9:30 p.m. than it is in the winter. And so there's a lot of things we need to reassess, and your health, your energy, your business. There's so many different things to look at to reassess. Okay, the last lesson from the last 10 years, just as a recap, simple is better. Obviously, know your type and do it your way. Don't keep up with the entrepreneurial Joneses. Profit first, save some money, my friends. And you are the most important thing. Paying your team is not the most important thing. Saving money for your life and your family is the most important thing. Reassess. And and then I threw in a 4.5. So number 6 is take breaks. taking breaks and lots of them. So I know 9-to-5 jobs can be awful too. I have plenty of friends that are in them right now, and it is extremely taxing. And being an entrepreneur is a little bit different in that it never, ever, ever, ever stops. Right? Our brains never turn off. There's always a meme we can do. There's always a post in our head. There's always clients we can be looking for. There's always writing or a podcast. It just never shuts off. And so learning how to compartmentalize your time with your family, your time with yourself, your time in your business, and then lots of other rocks and compartments, but learning how to take breaks and turn it off at a certain time. So whether that's 2:00 in the afternoon, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever it is for you, and on the weekends or whatever days you take off. But otherwise, entrepreneurship can take over your entire life. It certainly did for mine for many, many years. Hence why I'm healing the hustle. I mean, I worked at least 6 days a week. I wrote both of my books on Saturdays, because I had a full client load, and it's all I talked about. I mean, I remember I had no hobbies. I remember I was dating at the time, and I was like, I literally have nothing to talk about except my business. And that is not a very attractive way to start a date, is like jumping straight into my masculine energy and going straight into all the shit I love about my business. I was like, I don't do anything else right now. I'm not cooking. I'm not doing yoga. I'm not gardening. Like, I'm not doing anything else. I wasn't even paddleboarding at the time. Like, I worked, and I'm glad. I mean, I'm glad because it got me where I am. It helped me create Healing the Hustle. Like, I never regret anything, by the way, but taking breaks is so critical. So whether or not you work your ass off like I did for like 4 years, and then you start learning how to take breaks, but what I would encourage you to do is probably not do it my way, and do it in a way that is more compartmentalized, of healing that hustle and taking breaks. And again, whatever that is for you, setting a deadline, getting off of social media, setting boundaries with your clients. I mean, that is just, absolutely something I learned years and years and years ago, is the importance of setting boundaries with everybody in my life, to be perfectly honest, and taking breaks, working, 3 or 4 days a week, and, taking a day for yourself and then a day for your family, because entrepreneurship is really, really intense, especially if you're a coach, because we are giving so much to other people. We're giving to our team. We're giving to our clients. I'm giving right now on a podcast. Like, we are outputting an extreme amount of energy and effort, and we do it because we love it. Like, I do this because I fucking love it. I would have given up a long time ago, but my BHAG is to get everybody to understand their personality type and be unapologetically who they are. I will probably not stop that again until I'm like 68 years old. This is what I was put on this earth to do. But if I don't take breaks, I am absolutely going to burn out. And I know a lot of the people in summer school, a lot of you that will purchase the book whenever I get it done, a lot of you know that feeling, because in our culture, this is just not a thing. And I believe wholeheartedly in learning how to do this sooner, because we must refill our buckets. We absolutely have to be selfish AF and learn how to refill our buckets, because we live, and this is part of healing the hustle, is the nature and the nurture. We live in a world right now where anybody, literally anybody, can get a hold of us at any time. So it's totally stupid example is I have a TikTok channel. It's not, very popular, but something went crazy. I wouldn't say viral. I don't even know what that means anymore, but I have 750 views sometimes. I made one and it has 40,000 views and it has like 400 comments. I was so fucking overwhelmed with the comments because I didn't know what to do. I was telling Corby, I was like, oh my God, do I respond to all of these? Like, what do I do? I feel like a jerk. Oh my God, what happened? And so just was this really weird feeling of like, oh my God, I didn't even mean for this to happen. And now I feel like a jerk. I mean, I'm spending time on my Sunday of Memorial Day weekend feeling like this angst of like, oh my God, should I respond to these people? And the point is, this is the society we live in. We have a nature and nurture of this healing or this hustle. And we now live in this culture where you put up a thing and just think like 50 people are going to see it. And all of a sudden 40,000 people have seen it and you've got 300 comments. And it's this thing of like, oh my God, I need to respond. And I was just trying to be funny and blah, 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 blah. So we live in a crazy world of Marco Polos and WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger and Instagram Messenger and TikTok and text messages. And there's probably more that I'm not even thinking of, Snapchat, whatever. There's so many ways for people to get a hold of us. And so taking breaks, setting boundaries, straight up just saying like, I am unavailable. That is perfectly okay. And again, as givers, as coaches, as healers, we have to take breaks to fill up our tank. All right, my friends, I think those are the biggest lessons from the last 10 years as an entrepreneur. Graduated from Bastyr University. I remember being there with my husband and wanting to kick his ass. He was being such a dick that day. And just like totally knew that at any moment it was just going to be restarting my life. I was living this incredibly like incongruent life. I was so excited about this new part of my life, yet my marriage was falling apart. And it just was such a weird phase. And to look back and realize it's been 10 years and some of the things that I've learned. And I hope, you learned. A big part of what I do is I just kind of share my experiences, ugly and beautiful, all and everywhere in between, in hopes that you have some takeaways. So I'd love to hear from you. I always love, of course, getting great reviews on iTunes. That always means the world to me. But you can always, just send me an email or send me a message as I complain about getting too many messages. I'm saying I would love to hear them though, about if some of this resonated with you. So thank you so much for listening. The podcast will be taking a little break for the summer. I have learned part of healing the hustle is doing seasons of a podcast is so much better with everything else I have going on, of writing Healing the Hustle book and seeing my wonderful private clients and having a life and doing all of that as well. So, I will be taking a break, but I do have a very, 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 very exciting, just offer or opportunity or whatever we want to call it coming up in September. So stay tuned. Have an amazing summer. I am calling it the summer of healing my hustle. And I certainly hope that you will join me in that. I will be still sending emails. I will still be posting on Instagram. So, come get on my list at jessicabutts.com, or follow me over on Instagram at Front Seat Life. And I will see you back here in September. Thanks for listening. From the bottom of my heart, truly, thank you so much for listening. I know that you have a ton of options, and the fact that you are taking time to listen to the Front Seat Life podcast means absolutely everything to me. If you're interested in learning more about the Front Seat Life way of life in the community, you can find out all about that at jessicabutts.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.